Excellent. So, ancient mysteries.
Hey.
Click. Stop that now. Sigma, lower your hover chair, otherwise the lesson can't start. Yes, educator. Sigma lowered their chair, and the class of 8-year-olds settled down. The lesson was history, but educator Scriven was a languages specialist, and the children loved it when they had the wrong teacher. It meant something different and possibly off syllabus. They looked at the educator aghast and ready to learn. Leaf, I can see your data worm in your ear. Please remove them for this. Leaf did so happily. Okay, class. I thought I'd share one of my passions, which is loosely historical. Today, I thought I'd share some ancient mysteries from before the Great Decade. There was a collective ooh around the class. The class went quiet. I even put in brackets, this is how my ego's out of control. A bit like that one, on the expectation that some of you might have gone ooh at that point, but you didn't, so you failed. The class went quiet in anticipation. You could have heard an ant sneeze, which they do, by the way. Let's go back well over 200 years to a time before biodata and practical existentialism. Back then, when the population of Englandia was, we think, well over 50 million people. Back in the last millennium, a time before Birmingham was on the south coast, before Malvern Island. They invented travelling machines that had fires in them, which burned liquid in metal chambers that they used these machines to travel around. But that's not the biggest mystery. The real mystery is why. These machines were death traps. It seems hundreds of people died every year in them, and yet people would operate the machines themselves and move them at great speeds on roads where other machines were doing the same and sometimes travelling in the opposite direction. We think they did this for work, but also for shopping and for pleasure. There's even some evidence that some people used to drive as fast as they could and called it sport. Sigma raised their hand. What's work? Well, that's a very good question. Back then, people had jobs. We know quite a lot about this because of the things people made back then, and built, of course. Some of those things are still in use today, like the chairs you sat on. But the talk of work's bringing me on to another ancient mystery. Money. It seems that when people did some activities, things that you might do, drawing or running or even hovering, Sigma, they were paid by other people who liked to watch, who benefited from the activity. If you created food, then you could hand the food to someone who wanted the food, and they would give you money. But here is the mystery. It seems that some people who didn't need money seemed to want to keep it, even though it wasn't very pretty and you couldn't eat it. So money didn't really work. But mysteriously, everybody still tried to get money and save money and hide money. And other people died from the lack of money, and nobody seemed to worry. The final ancient mystery I thought I'd share with you. I didn't put brackets, I need to put Kevin brackets at my story. I thought I'd share with you is how the great cyber war happened. We know quite a lot from our study of trees, animals and the sea, what happened to the atmosphere and the climate that led to the flooding and the fires, the storms and the destruction of the Great Decade. We know a bit about how people started collecting real things and storing them electronically, DNA, designs that could be 3D printed of things so that artifacts lost during the climate disasters could be reprinted and recreated. Images, books, seeds, all destroyed but preserved in computers. We know that increasingly people's lives were taking place virtually on electronic devices. Some people lived complete alternate lives plugged into their electronic communities, their real-life self being drip-fed vitamins and sustenance, paid for by their virtual selves, as the world outside their homes became difficult to live in. The ancient mystery, that will no doubt never be answered, is why and who decided to destroy it all. Some blame the leaders from different countries. Some people think it was a mistake, a power surge. Some think it was some collective dream and that the tech era never really happened. But whatever happened, happened. And now here we are, humans outnumbered by almost every other species on the planet, living in harmony with nature and playing with hoverflies, Sigma. Have you asked them whether they're happy to spend the day doing what you ask, Sigma? Yes, educator, and they love it. The swarm of hoverflies flew out of Sigma's hover chair, buzzed around the educator, made the shape of a hat on their head, much to the delight of the children, and then returned to their favourite place under Sigma's chair. The educator shook her head and dismissed the class for the day.